introduce yourself or anything. But yeah, so just intro the Pocket Pod.
Okay, so what do you want me to say? Like
Just
myself?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
This is you're on like you can imagine you're on stage. What would you tell the world? What would you tell the world?
Okay, so just don't surrender. You can do everything you
Mm,
want. If you propose it, if you believe in yourself, you can do it. Don't surrender. Yeah.
exactly. And can you say the Pocket Pod intro?
The pocket part intro.
Yeah, the Pocket Pod intro. Yeah. I mean, that was it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Simon.
But do you know how I got it? By being prepared. Your adventure can only be as grand as you plan. When you go to the grocery store and you say, I'm only gonna get whipped cream. It's the only thing, and you go into that store and you have tunnel vision, and you have this tunnel vision, and you're only looking for that whipped cream, and you go and you see the whipped cream and you say, okay, okay, and you're ignoring everything else. Your adventure can only be as grand as that whipped cream. But if you say, "Oh, okay, even if you go in there with the purpose of whipped cream, but you say, oh, but I'm also just gonna be vigilant. I'm gonna be on the lookout. I'm gonna see if anything befalls me." And you look around and you say, "Oh, well, actually, I did need this, and I know I did need some chocolate chips for the cookies I'm gonna make later. They ran out. It's a good thing I saw. Now you could have cookies later, opposed to if you just had the whipped cream. Your adventure can only be as grand as you plan. A testament to that is my emergency baby oil. Everyone asked, "What are you carrying around this emergency baby oil for?" My sister said, "In 22 years, you've never needed emergency baby oil. I've never seen you. I've never witnessed it. I've never heard of. You've never mentioned. You've never needed this ever." And I tell her, "You're right. You're right. I've never needed it. I've never needed emergency baby oil an entire for at any point in my in my 22 years of life. But that's because I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared with emergency baby oil. Look, the emergency baby oil it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for expecting the unexpected, to be ready constantly, unwavering. The emergency baby oil, it signified more than just the baby oil. They call me the Diddy Diddler, but it had nothing to do with Diddy. Look, that emergency baby oil, it was an analogy, a metaphor for life. I carry around this emergency baby oil and I prepare myself. I'm prepared for anything that may come my way. And so, a couple times I almost did use the emergency baby oil. Like unironically, like guy was like, "We need oil. We don't have oil." And I pulled it out. I'm looking. No, it's not time. It's not time. But you see, just like that. But you see, just like that. Just like that. I've Emergency baby oil could have been put to use right then in a genuine emergency. When got there were multiple instances. It was funny. But here's what I tell you. You can only your adventure can only be as grand as you imagine, as you envision. It starts with that imagination, then it goes into reality. Before anything can come into this reality, it must be imaginary. So when you dream, when you have this boundless imagination, it means something. It signifies something. It does something. I practice purposeful speech. So when I say I prepare for an adventure greater than life, an adventure, a dream grander than the imagination, I prepare for it without knowing it, but I'm open. I'm open and willing. And I feel like the world it blesses you. It lines up if you watch and you look at everything that's accumulated to this point, a culmination of all your work and all the events. Some of it's luck, some of it's hard work, some of it's chance, some of it's just dickery. All of it is life. All of it is life. So when I tell you I prepare for an adventure grander than the imagination, I have my heart open. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step, but the thing is you don't worry about the 1,000 miles when you begin the first step. You worry about step 1, and you don't even think about the 1,000, you think about the first mile. You don't even think about the first 10, you think about the first mile, and once you go and go and go, and at some point you make it to 10, but you don't know how far it is to 1,000, so you just keep trekking along. Because once you stop, you can either keep going forward or you can go back, and you don't want to go back. You don't want to go back because you know either way you're going to have to go forward. This life, this life, I tell you. Do you know what I was bestowed 3 days before? 3 days before my intensive 3 months of training, I was bestowed from my own mother the title, the true meaning of my name, the name that I've carried around for as long as I live, but the name that I physically carry, I've been carrying around my name on a pendant I've made, and I carry around my name on this pendant. I've been carrying it around for a year, a year and some change. A lot of times I go by Trey, but I'm a Treyu. I go by Trey because people, I got to, when I joined high school, when I joined college, I got tired of that back and forth. A try you, a true, a chai, a cha, a betray you. Like, plus also I sent my nickname in the on the website as Trey, and then apparently that's what it puts my name as on the attendance. It's okay. So I tell you this. I carry around my name because I've never forgotten who I am. I try not to. Trey, I feel is a different person from Atreyu. My growing up, all the way from elementary to high school, I was Atreyu. Only Trey only came later. That's a separate identity, a separate personality, a different entity, and that's okay. And that's okay. But I carry around Atreyu on my pendant, and I tell people I'm Atreyu, but you call me just Trey. I'm Atreyu, but you can call me just Trey. I'm a funny guy. What can I say? It's okay. You can call me just Trey because I know who Atreyu is. I know what Atreyu can do. I know what Atreyu will bring forth, what it means. So I hold the name on my neck with so much pride. With an immense, immeasurable amount of pride. This pendant I have that says Atreyu. I am Atreyu, the boy who saved the world. It sounds crazy. It sounds crazy to even utter that. It's but it's my birthright. The boy who saved the world. Brother, man, it's not an easy thing in this life to be prepared for the unexpected, to be prepared for something you couldn't even foresee. I carried around that emergency baby oil to signify the potential of change, the inevitability of change, the inevitability of being unprepared, the inevitability of all this life, what it signifies. So I tell you with great pride, in every way, in every way, I have fortified my mind, I have strengthened my resolve, and I have become the person you see today. It is April 6th. It is April 6th, and I just got a check for $200, but it's not in my name. Damn it. So every day is an opportunity.
I was gonna say, yo, you also got a check?
Isn't that
Got a
the
check.
thing too? That's what I realized.
Fat ass.
Every day is an opportunity to steal David's money, so I take it with grace. I'm assembling my keychains, and as I assemble and as I give out more and more, I see the idea come to life, it grow. It becomes real. At at first, I was just giving out keychains with pod, the word pod. 3 separate words, all separate letters and all spinnable, but then I combined them in the software, and then on the back, I put my Spotify code, and that was amazing. I did that first day, that was cool. Then the evolution of that was, okay, well, I have pod, but I still like the spinning, like, I like the fidgetability. I like that about having them separate, so then I said, "Okay, wait, let me include something else. What else can I include? Oh, the number. Okay, then what if now I include the number at the end, so now I have those 2 separate numbers and 2 different part that's spinnable, and then also its function. So the pod, it's the Pocket Pod, and it's functional because it has the code on the back, and also it's a punt. It's a pod, and when you put it in your pocket, it becomes the Pocket Pod. Now you have the Pocket Pod. And then you have your own episode when you have your number with it. Okay, okay, great. But and as I continued to do it, I noticed that, sometimes the number wasn't self-explanatory, and I started pre-making the numbers, pre-making the keychains, carrying them with me, and then I have them in my Panda, my Pandora's Panda. And I carry around these keychains in the Pandora's Panda, and when it's time for that someone to do an intro, I say, "Okay, okay." I unscrew the Panda and I say, "Pick a keychain," and they don't know which one it is. They're all and you pick, and then that I say, "That's your intro number." And before I would ask 3, I knew I wanted to ask more questions. I wanted to, you know, make it inclusive, immersive, just inclusive. So I wanted you to know the characters, the person, who's introducing. So obviously 3 questions, but I don't want it to be too invasive, and I want to be simple. I want anyone to think of it anytime. That's it. There's no multiple takes. It's raw, just like that. So with that in mind, I say, okay, well, one is just a cue. I'll tell you to say Pocket Pod intro. One is who is you? Who are you? And then second, something you'd like to share. Because when I ask, oh, a question you'd like to ask the world, or something you'd like to say, that's a tall ask. But what's something you would like to share? That's not invasive. That's lighthearted. There's no pressure with that. Just anything. It could be your breakfast, and people have shared their breakfast, and that's what I want. That's it. It just happened. That's it. So yeah, so then and then as it went on, and I did the numbers, I noticed that it wasn't fully self-explanatory what the number part is. People were, I do the pod part, yeah, no, yeah, but then you got the number, and then I was like, oh, and that's your episode. And they're like, oh, but when I was giving one to my sister, and I already have her episode ready, I like recorded, so I let her pick actually. I was like, which one, since I'm just now doing this numbering system, so get in while it's hot. And she's like, "Oh, okay, 54." And she has 54, and when I was making hers, I'm testing out the models where now I added a hashtag, so it's hashtag and then the number. So it's pod, hashtag, and then and then your number, so 54. And that hashtag, that number sign, that helps a lot, and then you spin around the pod and you say, "Okay, it's Spotify. Oh, a episode, okay, okay." It becomes self-explanatory, right? Because I always know what I'm doing, but the challenge in this life is trying to get others to seamlessly understand what you are trying to convey, whether that be emotion, intentions, actions, that so it's what you're trying to convey. So then when I do that, now I'm saying, okay, I'm starting to strike off all the check marks in my brain because I like the pod, but I didn't like that it wasn't functional. Because and I even when I gave out the first keychains, I even did a little feedback, a little trial where I gave on the same day, the first day I made it, I gave Jason and Prince 2 opposing keychains. I gave Jason the keychain that's pod, all separate letters, and then Prince I gave pod, but it says it's 1, and this didn't even have the numbers at this point. So then, and it was only the 3, so that's it. So, and I explained that, oh, on Prince, and look on the back of yours, it has the code that you can scan. And Jason's like, what? And he looks at his, he doesn't see that. And he's like, oh, I'm like, yeah, it's a new model. So he's like, oh, I'm like, I have another one. I'm like, do you want this one? It does the same thing. Like you can scan. Like he's like, yes. I'm like, okay. So functionality trumps fidgeability. And especially a cool factor like that. Okay. Especially with something you're in. Okay, I'm seeing it. I'm doing my own research. I'm doing my own research on what works, what's favored. So, okay, we have that. And then I add the numbers, great. And now we're striking everything. So on this one keychain, I'm having fidgeability, so playability, something that's that you could just play within your hand, and you'll remember what it is. You know, that was a gift. And it's personal. Something that's personalized, tailored just for you. An experience catered just for you. It stands out a bit. It definitely stands out a bit. And it's useful. Like, it explains itself. So if someone were to see, they look at it and they say, oh, pod. And you turn around, oh, it's a Spotify logo with a little code. Maybe they'd be intuitive enough to scan it, but then they see hashtag 86. Oh, okay, 86. At that point, you ask your friend, what is this? 86? Pod 86? What is this? Oh, I was on the episode of a podcast. Like, I was the intro. I introduced the Pocket Pod. Oh, you did? Yeah. Look, scan the code. It works. Scan code. Wow. That's a guy. I'm just trying to set everything up. It's the groundwork. It's that groundwork that I so do adore. That groundwork. And I started to see it too. I just looked at my Spotify today. It say 30 followers. I say, oh, last week I had 15. I said, it's exponential. That's the thing. The growth is exponential. I wasn't even focused on the followers. With Spotify, the episode I posted a couple, I don't even remember what episode I said this, but Spotify was saying, oh, you podcast like yours, you only have 15 followers. Usually you're supposed to have 60. I say 60 podcasts like mine. There are no podcasts like mine. But second of all, don't worry about what I have. I know where I'll get to. It's a game of patience. The race is not for the swift nor the bold, but for who can endure. And I plan to endure the longest. I plan to push through and persevere to a degree and extent that has never been witnessed, that has never been seen. So don't worry about me. But and now it's say 30. I say, ooh, just like that? Just like that? What I say, guys? What I say 30 episodes ago? What I say at the very beginning? You get if I can get one follower, that means I could get 2. And if I could get 2, that means I could get 3. And 3 is basically 10, and 10 is basically 100, and 100 is basically 1,000. So my victory is inevitable. And I say that not out of cockiness, out of hubris, but out of pride for the dedication that I have to my craft. The work that I know I'm willing to put in, the extremes, the lengths that I'm willing to go through. 30 days deep, I'm already a month ahead in my recorded content, most definitely. Most definitely. So I started a month ago, but I got 2 months of content. And I'm a week ahead in uploads. What are you telling me? I just made an episode yesterday. Dear episode 500. Dear episode 506. Because it's there. 506 is just as close as 2. The hardest one to get is the first, but once the first goes, then it's not because you've already proved to yourself, you've already proved to the world, you've already proved that you could do one. The hardest episode to make was episode 1. It took me a month. And it wasn't because I was editing and trying to get it perfect. It was the fear in a sense. It was that indecision. It was I know what I want it to be, but I don't know how I'm gonna convey that. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. How even in the first episode, I explained it to you. I don't know how to encapsulate all that this is and all that I want it to be, but I'm going to try regardless. And this isn't the final product. This beginning isn't the final. You're going to witness it. There's more to observe. It's coming constantly. It's on the way. But right now, it's just a start. Right now, it's just and look at this. 30 episodes in. I'm actually closer to 40. Touching 40 at 40. 40 episodes in, and I already I have my editing software. I have a format. I have daily uploads. I have a schedule. I I I know what I want my future plans going forward. The scale that I want to scale this to. I started small. Oh, can you do an intro for me? Can you do a thing? I didn't even ask them to do an intro. Someone just did the intro. I'm like, just say it. If you said it, then I can put it as the intro. If you advertise this, I can put it as the intro. I can put you in. I'll have anyone in. I said I'd have anyone in, regardless. I don't care. This isn't an exclusive thing. This is just me. This is my Pocket Pod. There was a name rebranding. It was a name rebrand. The soul was calling. Every time I hear someone say the Pocket Pod, it becomes more real. And I'm right now, you know what I can't wait for? I can't wait till I go ahead and I make my video. And it's intro the Pocket Pod, intro the pod, and it's all these different voices saying the intro the Pocket Pod. All these different voices saying intro the Pocket Pod. Then it becomes real. You have 100 different people. You have 100 people say introducing your show. That makes it real. You have 5 people introducing your show. It makes it real. And it's only gonna continue to grow. It's what the determination does to a man. I peer off into the sunset. It's a cloudy, cloudy day. I'm by my print station. Keychains are forming as we speak. The shafts, the letters, the hashtags, and even I'm refining the printing and I had to upscale the codes by 5%. The 5% upscale help it get that. I gotta know. It's all trial and error, but I see it being built around me as I speak. As I go. And I can't wait till I reach the next phase. I already know what I want season 2 to consist of, but season 2, it can't come just like that. I have to work for season 2. I don't even know if season 2 is gonna be I'm gonna allow season 2 to start at episode 100. I don't even know. Yeah. Well, but the next phase, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have so many different people on this pod. I'm gonna ask so many different questions. I'm gonna be in the minds of so many people, and then they're also gonna ask questions to future potters. So it's gonna be it's gonna be self-sufficient. It's gonna be a self-sufficient system, and to tell you the truth, just by me being involved, it was a self-sufficient system. I have enough ideas for everything. I got plenty. I have an episode a day. I thought about it, I'm like, I'm gonna have to have an episode title every day. At some point, it's probably gonna get difficult. Maybe? No. There's so much life to live. There's so many combination of words. There's so many possibilities, so much potential out there. I peer out into a vision that I see, a I witness as clear as day. An image burnt into my eyes it seems almost impossible for it to be as clear as it is. But I see it, and I see the steps that I must take to reach that level, to progress. The dedication it will take, the work. Look, and it's not going to be easy. It's never easy. If they tell you it's easy, they're a fucking liar. But what I will tell you, it gets easier every day. But the hardest part is doing it every day. It gets easier every day, but the hardest part is showing up every day. So I show up every day, and it gets a little bit easier. As I told you, I see the dream come to life. This imagination, I see it. I see it as definitive. This imagination, it creates a door, it creates a lock. And when you use the consistency, that consistent key, consistency is the key. So when you use that consistent key and put it into the door, that lock, and that lock is only formed by the effort, the trial, the attempt. When you get up, when you try, that's the door right there. When you dream, that's the door right there, and you use that key, that consistent key, to bring it to life. It's not gonna be easy. That consistent key, that's the most difficult part. But it gets easier every day, but the hardest part's showing up every day. The hardest part is showing up every day, but someone's gotta do it. Who's gonna carry your legacy if you don't? Look, when you go to the store, and I go to Costco, please sponsor me. When you go to Costco, it's easy to put everything from the shelf to the cart, and from the cart to the cash, from the cash to the car. But when you go home, you could only have as much as you can carry. You can only feast on what you can carry. So I practice carrying it all with grace. I have a greedy soul, and my heart knows no other. So I tell you, I practice carrying it all with grace. You can only feast on what you carry, and I know what I must. No one's gonna carry it for you, big boss. Not a soul's gonna carry it for you, and if they carry it for you, it won't be forever, and it won't be as good as you can. I remember Saj said, "What? Be careful when you're out with my son, Caden. Be no, I just don't trust people with my kid, because I don't believe they're gonna treat my kid as well as me." Of course they're not. That's your child. I'm not gonna treat your kid as good as you. Of course not. You gave birth to him. You have to see him every day, but I'll try my best. I'll do the best of my ability. I will care. Look, and so I say all of that to say this. Look, someone else could carry it for you. The world, coincidence, circumstance could rope you into a life that, you say was meant for you. You either wait for your miracle, or you take your blessing, and I practice taking my blessing every day of this brass clot life. It's all I know. It's all that I know. The more you reach, the more you get. But if you don't reach at all, you get nothing. Sometimes you reach, your hand get burnt. The pot looked nice. You carried all those groceries. You said, okay. And the pot looked nice, and you reach out and you say, okay, but it's mine. I already carried it. But sometimes your hand get burnt. You didn't wait enough. But here's the thing. If you didn't reach at all, you wouldn't have eaten, or your hand wouldn't have gotten burnt. If you didn't reach, nothing would have happened. You would have stayed in the same spot. You could have carried those groceries, but you would be in the same spot today. So, look, I practice reaching. I practice this dream of more, this dream grander than the imagination. It's all that I know. It's all that I practice. Purposeful speech. All that I've been doing over these 3 months is training. I've been conditioning myself, fortifying my resolve, my mental, My solid look, my solace has